Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. As you know, at 8 p.m., the polls closed in Pennsylvania, and now across the state, county workers, dedicated county workers, are working to make sure that every person's vote is counted. Millions of Pennsylvanians, as we know, went to the local polling places all across the Commonwealth, and millions of others cast their ballots, many for the first time by mail. Counting that tremendous number of ballots, again, will take longer than we're used to, but the extra time is just there because we want to make sure that our election system is working and that each and every vote is counted. We may not know the results today as a result, but I encourage all of us to take a deep breath and, as I've been saying, just be patient. What's most important is that we have accurate results and that every vote is counted, even if that takes a little longer. So I'm urging Pennsylvanians just to remain calm, be patient, stay united on election night and in the days ahead. While counting these ballots will take more time than in past years, Pennsylvania will have a fair election. Every eligible vote will be counted as it must be. And make no mistake, we're going to stand up, as we always have, to anybody who wants to silence the voices of Pennsylvanians who have voted. So I pledge to you tonight that we will fight every effort, as we have in the past, every effort to disrupt the vote count. Free and fair elections are a bedrock of our democracy and of this nation's history. And those principles have guided us through 2 world wars, through economic downturns, and through a pandemic. Today, the people of Pennsylvania have spoken, and the vote of each and every Pennsylvanian will be counted. I want to thank the millions of Pennsylvanians who cast their ballots on Election Day and the days leading up to the election. Just like in 1776, our nation is calling on all of us to set the course for our future. Pennsylvania has met that challenge in the past, and it will do so again. We're going to do so in this election. We will heal our divisions. We will stand together as one Pennsylvania, and we will stand together as one America. I believe the days ahead are our moment as Pennsylvanians to shine, and we're going to do it as a united Commonwealth. So thank you very much, Pennsylvania. Now I'm proud to turn this over to this Pennsylvania Commonwealth Secretary of State, Secretary Kathy Boockvar. Secretary Boockvar.
Oops, sorry. Sorry, my computer doesn't want to recognize me here. All right, hang on one second. I apologize. This is technology situation. Thank you all. Why isn't this recognizing me? Anybody have any advice on the iPad? Okay, now we did it. Wait, it just opened. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Pennsylvania has undergone extraordinary changes in how we vote and how we conduct elections over the last couple of years. A little over 1 year ago, Governor Wolf signed historic bipartisan legislation that allowed every Pennsylvania voter the chance to vote by mail and vote early in person by mail ballot for any reason or no reason at all. And at that point, we had not even yet heard of COVID-19. Well, we've now seen that Pennsylvanians embrace that in record numbers. Pennsylvania, since Act 77 was signed into law, Pennsylvania has conducted 2 successful elections in which we implemented new secure voting systems in all 67 counties, implemented mail-in ballot and early voting, and we did all of this in a global pandemic. And that is thanks to the incredible work of our county election directors in conjunction with the Department of State. With everything that our country and our Commonwealth has faced this year, we are constantly reminded why our democracy and our exercise of our fundamental rights is so important. And I want to thank every single Pennsylvanian who exercised their precious right to vote. I'm happy to report that today's election in the Commonwealth went remarkably smoothly. We have no major or widespread events to report. Our team answered more than 5,000 calls today to the Commonwealth's toll-free voter information hotline. There were mostly standard issues. So a handful of counties reported late opening polling places, which happens every election. There were lines at some polls. There was some confusion over the use of provisional ballots, which were used in higher numbers today because some voters who applied for mail ballots and then chose to go vote in person, because this was a brand new law, the poll workers didn't always know to have those voters who surrendered their ballots vote by regular system, so they voted by provisional ballot. And again, those ballots will be counted. It's just, Act 12 of 2020 that was passed in March still has some learning curve to get through. A handful of counties ran low on provisional ballots or regular paper ballots, but they were able to replenish them. So we are not aware of any counties that ended up extending polling hours as a result of anybody not being able to vote. In cases where we had voter complaints, we directed those to the county election offices, and they were able to follow up. I know a lot of people were, asked questions about and were concerned about protests, demonstrations, civil unrest, voter intimidation. I'm happy to report that we had no reports of violence at any polling places today. There were a few reports of voters feeling intimidated that were resolved by calls to the counties. There was an individual who accidentally shot himself. That was in Northampton County, but he was able to drive himself to the hospital. There was a recent report right before the close of the polls of a volunteer with the Pennsylvania Democrats who was shot by a paintball gun from a moving vehicle. So that just happened right before the close of the polls, and I don't have more information on that. I want to thank our partners at PEMA as well as county election officials for their diligence and hard work in making sure that voters could go safely to the polls. As Governor Wolf said, and we've said many times before, the tabulation of the election results is going to take some time. We're going to be providing up-to-date information as the counties report it on both in-person votes, mail-in votes, and provisional ballots once those start being counted. Vote totals by candidate will be found on our usual website at electionreturns.pa.gov. And meanwhile, at votespa.com/counting, you will find regular updates tracking the progress. So ballots that have been counted, but ballots that have yet to be counted, precincts counted, precincts yet to be counted. I understand that that dashboard went down for 15 minutes or so, but my understanding is it's back up. And it didn't go down. It wasn't tracking accurately. I think some of you might have reported it, so thank you for that. It's now been fixed and back up and running. The counties, as you know, are committed to counting votes as quickly as they can. I understand that several counties have already reported large numbers of results from their mail-in and absentee ballots. And as Governor Wolf said, the top priority, of course, is to count every ballot accurately and securely, and accurately as quickly as humanly possible. As of a little earlier today, so I want to just be clear, most counties, I think, didn't have a chance to upload the ballots that they received today. So the numbers that I have so far, but I expect that this will be updated tomorrow through 8 p.m. tonight, was that 2,553,094 mail ballots were recorded, which is almost 83% of the ballots that were sent out. But again, many counties have not yet uploaded the ballots that were cast today. I want to again thank the county election officials across the Commonwealth for their incredible hard work throughout all this year, today, and in the days to come. They have just completely risen to the challenges that were before them, unlike any other year before us. So I want to also thank poll workers, all of our election partners, including both the federal and the state Department of Homeland Security, Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and National Guard, Pennsylvania State Police, Office of Information Technology, PEMA, the Attorney General, and many others who really have done just tremendous work to make sure that our preparedness and security were top-notch across the Commonwealth. Thank you all, and we're happy to take questions.
Let me just say one thing. It's interesting for an election that has as many passions as this election seems to have had. The issues that Secretary Boockvar just outlined are really run-of-the-mill issues that we've had in pretty much every election. And I think the extraordinary thing is what a great job she and her team at the Department of State did, once again, shepherding Pennsylvania through the process of an election, especially since so much of it is new and different in this election. We had a lot of the same things in the primary, but this a lot of new things, to learn for all the folks out at the polls around the Commonwealth. So now we'll be happy to take questions, and when I say we, I mean she'll take most of. Yes. We're prepared. We have, back in 2018, I think, created a joint task force of different organizations within the state dealing with issues of security, like the state police, even the cybersecurity team and the Office of Administration, the National Guard, the Department of Homeland Security, Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. I know I'm missing somebody, but they've all been working together. And the idea is that you don't plan to have any issues, but to make sure that they're all working together to be able to respond if and when something does occur. At this point, we don't anticipate anything, but if something were to arise in any part of the Commonwealth, we're ready. This is for you.
So I genuinely don't think that those seven counties represent a tiny fraction of the overall 2.5 million ballots cast. So I just want to be clear, those 7 counties waiting till tomorrow, they still are largely going to be done before some of the larger counties. It's not going to impact the overall time frame at all for the presidential race. You know, I think I spoke earlier today about some of the local races. That's really where it is going to make a difference. I've made it very clear that, I wish that they were all counting today, but they do statutorily have the ability to wait. What I can tell you is I genuinely believe that every one of them is dedicated to getting it done as quickly as humanly possible. And they did want to focus on running the election today. And honestly, this is why it really was so important for the legislature to make the change to allow pre-canvassing to happen for days, if not weeks, before Election Day, because Election Day is the busiest day of the year for the election offices. So, I hope that this will be, another opportunity for the legislators to see how important it was. The governor and I advocated very strongly for this change, and I still hope that it will happen for future elections. Yes. I'm sorry, I missed what county?
York County. York.
I did not hear of any 5-hour lines. So it wasn't reported to us any 5-hour lines by voters or by the county. So I'm not sure if that's an accurate representation or if that might be misinformation. Do you know? Yeah.
No. I don't know whether about that particular case, but we did have long lines all across the state. And I think we were expecting that because so many people voted early that the lines might not be as long, but there was a lot of passion. There were a lot of people who really wanted to vote. And I think what we're seeing in Pennsylvania with long lines all across the state is what people are seeing in other states around the country already, that there have been long lines all around the country. So I don't know about that particular one. We don't know about that. And but again, none of the things we've seen move beyond the run-of-the-mill issues that arise in each and every election where you have a problem here or something that happens here that's sort of unusual. We haven't had that. Any other questions for Secretary Boockvar? Which one?
Both of you can answer this one. So as you know about the GOP litigation concerning curing ballots, they're saying that the Secretary of State issued guidance that broke the law. So
I'm going to let her answer this question.
yeah, so the GOP are claiming that your guidance broke the law, and now they're in litigation against you. And so what are your comments? Do you think you broke the law?
You probably won't be surprised to hear me say no. We don't think we broke the law. And I can't discuss active litigation in any detail, but I can tell you that the claims we completely dispute. Any other questions? Yes. Sorry. Okay, go next. For me or for the governor?
It's for you.
Okay.
I mean, my question is about the USPS sweep today and whether you guys heard, whether they uncovered any ballots during this or kind of what the results were of that.
I have not heard whether they've uncovered any ballots. I did see a report that the Postal Service refused to do the sweeps in multiple places, but I just saw that when I was right before I was coming over here, and I don't know how that impacted Pennsylvania. So we'll get back to you on that.
You're not sure if they refused to do the sweeps in Pennsylvania?
No, I saw a report that they refused to do the sweeps, but I don't know the regions that it covered. So I'm going to reach out to the Attorney General who was involved in the litigation and find out where that is.
Do you guys have any indication so far that just the number of ballots that might be rejected because of defects, or is it still too soon?
It's still too soon. Yeah. Jan.
Well, she asked some of my questions. I was just wondering about, do you have any sense at all about turnout? I mean, anything that you can share at all about?
I was saying earlier, some of my colleagues across the country where they use e-poll books across their states, they can track turnout hour by hour throughout the day. We don't. We don't have e-poll books. We have, I think, in fewer than 10 counties. So we don't know turnout until the counties report their precincts reporting. So we'll get back to you on that. Yes, for me or for the governor? Okay.
Do we have any sense at this point whether or not you're seeing a large volume of negative ballots turning up, or?
So I don't have, as you know, the canvassing, particularly in the larger counties, is still going on. So we won't have a full picture until that's done. But from what I've heard, and again, this is very initial reports, I don't think the numbers were huge. But I can't quantify what that means. But it didn't seem like, it seemed like our public education campaigns worked and the voters got those messages by and large. Yes, for me or for the governor?
For you. I just wanted to follow up on the ballot curing suit. I know you said you can't comment on current litigation, but hypothetically speaking, if they ruled in favor of the petitioners, could you just speak to the impacts you think that would have?
Yeah, so that case involved two things, as I understand it. One was the counties announcing in the canvass the names of voters whose ballots had deficiencies, or providing that information to the candidate or the party representatives. There is absolutely nothing in Pennsylvania law that prohibits that practice. That was an opportunity for the parties, both parties, all candidates, to choose to contact the voters to let them know that they had a deficiency and that they could vote by provisional ballot. That's completely valid. The other claim was similarly it was whether even the voters had the ability to vote by provisional ballot if they had a deficiency. And that's what the provisional ballot law exists for, is to allow every qualified voter to have the opportunity to have their vote counted. Because my understanding is that there's not overwhelming numbers of voters who were in these positions, so I don't think this is going to be a huge issue no matter which way it goes, but I am confident that it will. And already a court, one of the county courts that address both these issues, already ruled against the same people who sued me. So we already have at least one court agreeing with the Department of State on this. Sure. Any other questions?
We heard that in a couple counties there was translation issues that had arisen, and I know that you said before the election, that you had kind of made accommodations for that. So what went wrong?
So that was in York County, and a lawsuit has been brought by the ACLU just within the last couple of hours of the polls closing. So I don't know the resolution of that, but it did involve language access that they said it was not being provided to voters, to voters who are required to have the Spanish language translations available to them. So you could track that litigation. That doesn't involve the Department of State, but it was brought by the ACLU. Yes.
There was a question about an unknown number of ballots in Boockvar County that were requested and not received. Do you have any further information on that situation? And also, do you know if this was an issue in other counties around Pennsylvania? Lots of hundreds or thousands of people calling asking for my ballot.
So Butler's circumstances seemed fairly unique, and I have to say that their numbers, just in tracking. Oh, and by the way, we will be posting, and maybe we already have posted, just so that you all have this. It's not on the dashboard, but it's on the page that you would go to on votespa.com, where you could both click on the link to the election returns, and you can click on the dashboard link. We posted a link that shows you the latest, broken down by county, mail ballots cast, broken down by party. So you can see what party, so on our dashboard, it's statewide, the chart, but you can click on the link and it will show you broken down by county. But that's just an aside, so thank you for reminding me, though you didn't realize you were reminding me to say that. But for Butler County, if you look at their tracking, they actually caught up quite a bit with the ballots that were cast. And so the efforts that I think the county took to contact those voters seemed to have worked. So they were, I don't recall the exact number or percentage where they were, but they were much farther ahead than they had been a couple of days ago or a week ago. There were a couple, so the overwhelming, I think we're currently around 83% of ballots in. The overwhelming majority of counties are above 79 or 80%, and there were only a couple of counties that were below that. So, but again, that's what are uploaded into Shore, and because they wouldn't have uploaded, today, and maybe haven't even uploaded yesterday, there may be a little bit of a delay on that. So, I think ultimately the answer is most of the counties, because they sent out their ballots early and voters got the message and cast their ballots early, it didn't seem to be a significant problem with delays.
So there are no counties where this is on your radar as a problem?
Not a huge problem, no. I mean, there are a couple of counties that have a lower percentage reported right now. But again, I think we have to give them a little bit of time to upload the latest round of ballots. Check on the dashboard, because I think you'll be able to track that. And I apologize, I don't remember off the top of my head. Yes. Me or the governor?
For you.
Okay.
Where was that lawsuit filed by the ACLU?
York.
It was filed in York County Court?
Correct. That's my understanding, that it's in the county court, but I suppose it might be actually in the federal court, in which York is, which would be probably the middle district.
I think it was Spring-Asbury Township, Teresa.
Okay. So I apologize, I don't know which court it was filed, but it could well be the federal court. Would make sense because it involved federal issues. Sure. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at 11.